Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author Podcast.
Hello, Achievers. This is episode 79 of the Next Level Authors Podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. My name is Sacha Black, and here with me every single week mostly is...
Daniel Wilcox.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Hello. Can we ask a different question?
No, it's in the show notes, so I'm afraid I've got to ask it.
Yeah, I've got to stick with the schedule. Yeah, no, I'm doing okay today. It's been a hell of a week. I'll say that much. I don't really know what happened, but from pretty much Monday, I got overwhelmed with crippling anxiety, and then had a couple of things happen in personal life. Received a few bits of bad news that weren't fantastic, and so I've been trying to push through and also work on top of that. And it's just a case of sometimes that's hard. And this week has been one of those where I've really had to forgive myself and cut myself some slack. And because it's hard when you're in this kind of job, especially when you do the kind of stuff that we do, because there are things that you have to do for the business to run.
Yeah.
And so I almost kind of went back to one of our first episodes, which is sort of ran during the beginning of the pandemic, which was what is your bare minimum and how can you set that as your bar and work from there?
Yeah.
And I've been working on the stuff that I should be working on, just very, very quietly in the background and giving myself some rest and things. But then at the same time, I will say a big public thank you to Sam from my Activated Authors group, who has basically been picking up the slack this week in my absence, because I've just had to step away and just breathe. And one thing that has reminded me is if you if you don't take rest, or if you don't sort of process things as they come, your body will force you to rest anyway. So I've been incredibly lethargic this week. I've just I had meetings with different people because I got a book launching today, which is very, very exciting. But I just in meetings, I've just found myself just very overwhelmed and unable to take in more information, because I don't think it's a secret to anyone that I do a lot, we do a lot, there's a lot on our plates, and it just reached a point of real saturation, especially for this week. And like I say, I've come around that dip now. I'm still a bit tired, but mentally I'm much more sort of back to where I was. But it's just bizarre, because these sort of episodes for me, they don't come around all that often, and when they do, it feels it's a real curveball. It's a real surprise for me to suddenly go I'm unable to handle the stuff that I normally handle. And I think that it's kind of why I started the Activated Authors group, and one of the reasons that I'm really becoming an advocate of sort of healthy productivity, because I've been around, and this is in no way slandering anyone that lives by this lifestyle at all. It's a real legitimate way to go, but I've been raised in writing around people that write fast and pump out books, and I'm in those communities and stuff. And for me, I've learned that I can do that, just not sustainably, and there are real consequences to it. So I'm really trying to preach productivity, but in a way that is healthy and is sustainable and can keep you pushing. So having this week where I can just luckily have the support of other writers and stuff to be able to go, right, I'm taking a breather while still working on sort of key stuff, has been fundamental. I'm very, very, I'm very, very thankful for. So that's been my week. Not even a weird week, just a very heavy shit week.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you've had a rough week, and I wish I could give you a big bromance hug. My week has been phenomenal.
How's your week been?
Yeah, I think let's talk about me now. So had I had coaching when we recorded last time?
Yes.
Okay, so did I talk about the outcome of that?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So I really feel I'm still appreciating and living the fallout of that. I feel like it's just going from strength to strength to strength. You know how like sometimes you do something and, pardon me, it's like takes you from here to here, and then it's like that slow dip back down. That's not what happened. I feel like it took me to here, and now I'm just like increasing. And I suppose that's like the intellection and the need to like process and think things through. And then I suppose the implementation and stuff that I've been doing in the background. So yeah, like I feel really good. I feel so there's a couple of things. One is, or two or three things, I think. One, I've learned how useful anger is for me. I also had this backed up because I had a feeling that this was the case, like with my influencing strengths, I had a feeling that this was the case. But then in the influencing energy pennies last night, she was like with a couple of the strengths of which I have, they were like, rage is really good because like it makes you do stuff, like particularly for competition. And I was like, my whole life makes sense. So that was number one. Number two, I am continuing to shut down tasks, and oh my God, it is glorious. I feel so empowered by shutting down stuff that I owe people, and I haven't finished everything this week. I was hoping to have finished everything this week, but I haven't. That's okay. I will just finish a couple more things next week, and then I think I will more or less have my whole plate clear. So like I looked at my diary last week and I got a new planner, a new style of planner, which I'll show you in the thing you've enjoyed. And I was just like, wow, I don't have a lot of stuff to put in here, which is really unusual for me. So yeah, and there was one other thing. What was the other thing? I'm implementing a 24-hour no decision on
twinsies.
Yeah, because we both have activator at number 6, and she can be a little bar steward because she makes us want to do stuff immediately, and that can then, whilst it might be okay in the moment and you get the dopamine hit, you then have to deal with the consequences of an overactive activator. So yeah, like I'm really enjoying this. And what I'm actually finding is that I'm making better decisions by not making decisions for 24 hours. And the other thing I've decided to do, I've had such a cracking week, is I'm changing my autoresponder. So at the moment, my autoresponder says I won't reply until a Wednesday or Sunday, but actually that's not what actually happens. So I think I'm just going to change it, and I'm going to put blanket, I will not reply to your email for at least 24 hours. And in most circumstances, it could take up to or over a week, because like emails are other people's priorities. I fucking hate my inbox, and I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm just not going to, because why should I? Like there's never anything that is literally life or death. And if there is something that's life or death in there, I'll reply quickly. But I just want to put out there that, in my inbox, that my inbox is not my priority. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel really empowered at the moment, and I'm loving it.
Good. Long overdue.
Yeah.
And emails are like a really, really, and like I go through my emails semi-regularly, and I do find that the amount of times I go on there and I'm just deleting emails and I'm just unsubscribing from things that, number one, I never subscribe to, or even things that like you subscribe to as part of like something else, and like 80-90% of them are just crap, like at the minute. And this seems to be just a thing that happens every year. And again, I'm not like slandering the organization. It's just this part that I don't enjoy is, as a member of the Horror Writers Association, you can opt in to receive sort of like Bram Stoker nominations from other authors.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so like every day I'm getting about 6 or 7 emails from horror authors. It's like, here's my book to consider for like, if you want to nominate it for a thing. And I'm like, there are some good books in there, and there's someone who's going to be putting themselves forward for that soon. Like I want to understand that process and see what people are doing, so I can get like the gist of what the kind of like vibe is. But at the same time, I'm just getting all these emails and then just like dragging them into a folder and being like, for later, and it just fills your inbox.
Yeah, to be honest, I went through that unsubscribe thing quite a while ago. So majority of the emails in my inbox, I would say it's about 70-30 for me. 70% need responses and 30% don't. But what I am trying to instill in myself is to take the burden pressure away from that 70% by saying, well, I can respond to them whenever. I don't have to respond to them today. They are not my priority, because I feel this real burden with having to reply quickly to emails. And that is just a lie. That is a lie that I've told myself.
That's legacy from corporate.
Yeah, it is. It is a corporate
is.
legacy. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember.
Sorry.
Go on. I was gonna say like a super quick story. Like I remember in my old job when I got promoted to like manager of my department, and for people that have like got to that point, you'll find that the people who used to be on the same sort of like hierarchical level as you don't really see you as a manager, even though like all your responsibilities just like rack up. Now I remember really getting to the point where I was like, I need to find ways to just get on with work. So I'd be at my desk, I'd have headphones on, I'd be working away, and like my headphones were kind of like my fuck off symbol, and I'd still get people standing at my side waiting for me. And I remember taking off my headphones once, turning around to one of my colleagues, just saying like, "You're right," and she was like, "Oh, have you seen my email?" And I went, I haven't been on my emails yet this morning. When did you send it? She was like, "Oh, about 15 minutes ago." And I was like, then you can wait for a response. Like if it was that important, you could have phoned me or like done this to start with. Don't send me an email and then be like, "Have you got the email?" 15 minutes later, especially when like, and it was something stupid as well. It was something like really, really small. I mean, obviously like everyone's priorities, but I was like, people, especially in corporate culture, really just get that email answered, just go through it, like inbox zero, all this kind of crap. And
like, and also like, I just want to say thanks to all my patrons as well, because they remind me that it's okay. Like, for example, I decided to give feedback to the anthology for all the patrons, you know, and I did say it was going to take me a little bit of time, and they were like, "That's okay. We know you're busy. We're just grateful that you're going to give the feedback." And I'm like, that is the kindest thing you could ever say. I am so grateful. And it just reminds me that actually it is okay that you don't have to reply to everything within 3 seconds. So yeah, like, I don't know. I just, I'm happy.
Yeah, I do just want to like belabor this point, because I think it's so key. But like, your time is your time, and especially this is your business. So like, you need to work on the fundamental cogs of what turns your business and what drives your passion and your input. That's why you started in this job. So don't, like, when you've got all these people like clawing outside the fence and like demanding your attention, just walk past them and flick up a middle finger and be like, "I'll get to you when I'm ready." Like, occasionally open the door and be like, "Actually, this is going to help. All right, cool, close that." Because I get so many just emails for just like general chit chat, or like even like just bits and pieces where I'm like, these are niceties, but they're really not helping me. And especially business wise, I need to be doing, especially right now, like I need to be doing things that like drive my business forward. I definitely know where you're coming from. There have been things in the past where I'm like, I'm putting a lot of energy into this and I enjoy it, but it's moving the needle nowhere. Or It's just like, it's just not where, because I think the thing we have to always remember is like, as solopreneurs, we are one person.
Yeah.
And we're not a team. We don't have like, or, you know, we can grow into a team, but most of us are like, we don't have a marketing person, a finance person, a business person, a strategist, a HR, like whatever. Like we are just one person. So where does your attention deserve to be, and how does that help your business sustain and grow?
And I can tell you that I really enjoy the community that I have in Patreon, and I really enjoy writing words. And next year I am going to write all of the words. So I don't know. And I'm going to do many more. I don't know. Yeah, next year is my year of no. I've already decided that is the theme for next year. My theme is no. Every year I have a different theme, and next year it's like the year of no, I think. Yeah.
Mine isn't panning out yet this year. Well, no, it kind of is. It's better than it was last year, but it's still like a lot of work. Mine was balanced this year.
I know. Yeah.
It's slowly getting there.
Start it again now.
Pretty much.
Right, come on, sunshine, level up.
Okay, that was
please.
Article 1. On to the next thing.
Yeah. 25 minutes into the show.
This week's level up is brought to us by Tracy Lovelot, who said, "I had my first 1K month, still in the red, but it's a step in the right direction." I want to say a massive congratulations, because that's a hell of a milestone, especially to like get that first 4-figure month. And like you say, even though you're in the red, it's moving up. it's in the right direction. The good thing about books and selling that is that it's constantly residual royalty, so you're going to eventually earn that back. So yeah, that's huge. Congratulations.
That is huge. Like, I still remember my first 4-figure month, and it was a fucking glorious moment.
Yes, I actually shared a thing with my activated authors yesterday, which is like a screen grab of specifically my Devil's Rock publishing business and the earnings over the month since it had started. And obviously you can see like the spikes in launches and things, but with every spike, then the baseline rose. And what was really interesting about that, just because I think this is useful, is again, this comes back to something we mentioned a couple of weeks ago of like, overall, my units sold are slightly down, but overall, my earnings are up since I changed all my prices to, you know, industry standard and
when
actually what they should be. So
someone really amazing and clever told you that you were underselling yourself. Is that what you're talking about? Like when that really cool person like made you?
Yeah, I think it was that conversation I had with Luke. Yeah, Luke's really wise like that. Yeah.
Of course it was, sunshine. I do think that is amazing though, like that baseline income. And I definitely, like, when I look at my graphs, I see that as well. And like things really changed after I launched pros, I would say, like they really jumped after that. But it's like amazing that I was really appreciating multiple streams of income as well, because I forget that I do things. And then like last night I had a message and and they were like, oh yeah, I need to send you $200 that you've earned. And I was like, what did I do to earn that? I was like, cool. I was like, yay, that's dinner paid for today. But yeah, like, and you like the more
$200 dinner, Jesus, where are you dining?
No, I'm just, you know, it's Connie's birthday. I have to treat the woman. Things, but they do, like, things grow and expand exponentially. And yeah, I don't know. I am in such a good place this week. That's all I'm saying. Right, Patreon. Good. No new patrons this week, but thank you, a deep, heartfelt thank you to all of our existing patrons. And if you would like to join us on Patreon and get access to all of the episodes early, as well as joining us for our next level author, nearly called it Poison and Prose, our next level author Q&As, which are monthly, then you can by visiting patreon.com/next level authors.
Hesitancy just gets me every time.
I know. Notices, has one published one's book?
Yes. Well, that's not what I want to point people to today, because it's mostly a horror anthology. And if you're not a horror reader, you're going to skew up my my also boards. But yeah, The Omen's Call is out, the anthology that I edited with Julie Heiner. So if you're into sort of like dark, spooky reads and you want something for Halloween, we have 11 cracking stories all centered around the theme of omens. Honestly, like some of the stories in there are just phenomenal. Like there are a few that I won't go into specifics because I'm not that parent, but like there are a couple of stories in there that for me were instant, just like, yes, like 100% this is being included in the anthology. Like the themes are stretched, like the writing's beautiful. I think there's such a good combination in there, and there's a story in there from myself and a story in there from the wonderful Julie Heiner as well. And what I will say as well is that again, for anyone who wants to celebrate that launch with us, it doesn't really matter because this goes out on Tuesday. I'll just stop that there. On Friday we did a thing and you can't join it.
Are you going to tell us about the thing?
Oh, my stomach hurts.
Are you going? Thanks for that very long and lengthy waffle. Are you going to tell us the notice that you actually want to give us, which I'm pretty sure is a challenge, is it not?
5-day free challenge, Nano Preppers. Head on over to activated.com/preppers. And I tell you what, I did not realize how much I had to say on this subject. Like, it's a 5-day free challenge. I am on each of the days going through things that should help people prepare for nano, because you cannot go into nano blind. You just cannot. Even if you are a pantser, I still contest that you need some kind of organization about your life in order to fit nano in. So for me, this is really, it's a mindset challenge. It's an organization challenge. It's got some story structure stuff in there as well. And the resources that I put together, I must be on like 8 or 9K's worth of words right now, and I've only done sort of 3 days worth of resources, so I'm pretty much considering potentially turning this into a future book. But like there's lots of stuff in there. Jump into the group with us, get involved. It's free, 5 days challenge, ready, go.
Lovely. I don't think I really have an announcement notice thing this week because
You've got nothing to promote or sell as a businesswoman.
No, it's more that I uploaded the audiobook, and that is going through the back end of what's it called, verifications and stuff. So I will I don't know when that's going to go through. I might do some giveaway codes and things and review copies and stuff, but until it's through, I don't know. Yeah, so no, I'm not gonna, we're gonna move on. Thing of the week that you've enjoyed, darling.
So what have I got in here? So I have been accepted into Vellum 3.0's beta, which is very exciting because I'm playing with the new Vellum. And I can't remember if we've said this on this podcast, but like one amazing thing that's happened in the last few months is the launch of Atticus by Dave Chesson from Kindlepreneur. And the reason that's so amazing is because there's such an issue, or like something that really grates me about the fact that Vellum's only available on Mac. And it's such a fantastic piece of software. It has shaved literally like hours off of my formatting time for my books. Because I'm not joking, I used to do a lot of like the formatting in Word because I'm a bit of a word whiz. And even then, like you'd get like the perfect formatting, and it would take the time it takes to upload onto different platforms, which is a long time anyway. Then you'd find an error, then you'd have to go back, and then there's this, and you'd never be able to explain some of the errors. And Vellum just sweeps through and does it all for you. And it's so easy to use and it's beautiful. But it's only available on Mac. So Atticus came out as a book formatter, which is available on both, I believe, Windows and Mac. And it's forced some competition up Vellum's ass because there was no one to make Vellum improve and get better. And so I've heard very good things about Atticus so far. Like apparently there's a couple of small bugs, but generally it seems that the feedback seems to be very, very positive considering it's quite a new software. Vellum 3.0 has added a lot of features that I've been asking for ages in terms of like sort of more customization, sort of full page bleed images and stuff. And just like in general, it's just a beautiful thing to behold. Still some stuff to work out on there, but like it's nice to see the competition pushing Vellum up and sort of adding some more features. So I've been playing with that.
Know why? Because competition's awesome and it's good for everyone.
But yeah, but this is one of the greatest things about like Elon Musk. Like the fact that he's pushed the agenda on electric cars has meant that suddenly every other car industry has had to suddenly go, like, who are dabbling in electric cars have suddenly had to go, oh shit, like people are buying electric cars and he's making nice cars that are selling. So we need to, like, just throwing fireworks into somewhere and just making people have to compete is. Do
you know he's the world's richest man now? He's overtaken Bezos. And he sent him some like loser card thing, which I thought was hilarious.
They keep going backwards and forth because they swapped last year as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. It's hilarious. Witty bants between the billionaires, trillionaires, whatever the hell they are.
They're billionaires. No one in the world is a trillionaire yet.
I am, in kindness. So I will quickly add like one other thing I've enjoyed. I've started blogging through the Activated Authors website. So every week I'm putting out sort of like a piece of content that's designed to help like writers improve. I'm building sort of like a foundational library of just stuff from my perspective and getting like the input of the other members in the group. And it's just quite fun to actually see that build because I've been looking into blogging for ages and just seeing it come together is a nice thing to behold. It's all working, which is nice.
Okay. My turn?
Wow.
Well, I mean...
Sorry, miss, I've always got like 3 things to throw out there when I've asked for one.
Wow.
Let me rebel for once.
We are feeling spiteful today.
Yeah, we are.
Wow. I've enjoyed most things this week, but I have a new
Great,
planner.
let's move on.
And so this planner is called the Planner Pad. And what I really like about it is that so for those on YouTube, I will hold it up to the screen, and for those listening in audio, I will explain. So it's sort of A4 and it's a double page spread, and it has along the top It spreads from left to right across both pages, and it has
Nice.
4 columns on each page where it asks you to put your tasks for the whole week into categories. So, for example, you might have writing tasks, publishing tasks, marketing tasks, shit you owe other people, whatever. So you can do that. So I really like that tasks by category. Then it has in the middle section, it has days of the week. So you can then assign those tasks to different days. Like, let's say you need to do something specifically by Thursday. Well, then you should probably be doing it Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday if you like the pressure of last minute. And then at the bottom, along the bottom, it has like an appointment section. So it starts at 7 a.m. and it has a line for every single hour down to 9 p.m. So you get a whole view of your whole week, all of the things that you have to get done, and like the days that you need to get them done. And it has space for like appointments and things. So I really basically I came to doing my quarterly planner like normal, and I just didn't gel with it. So I was like, I'm going to try something else. So this is what I'm trying, and I quite like it. It's yet to be decided if it will work for me. But one of the things of being high strategic is, you pivot and change quite a lot. So I just know that no one planner is ever going to be the planner for me forever. I have been using the Clever Fox planners for quite a while now. So yeah, we're going to see how this goes. I don't know how it will go. The other thing I have enjoyed is the multitude of book deliveries this week. I almost brought a free write, and then I implemented the 24-hour rule, and then was like, you just want it because you think it's a panacea. It's not a panacea, darling. You just need to keep your arse cheeks glued to the chair. So I was like, I'm just going to spend like 120 quid on books instead. So I brought loads of young adult lesbian books, and it has filled me with joy. Nice. I have 1 week left of reading of the Kindle Storyteller stuff. And then I am going to fucking devour books before Christmas. I have 12 books left to go before I hit my target for the year.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
I've read 88 books this year. I've got 12 left to go before I hit 100. And I am going to feel so much pride when I get to that 100 figure. It's unbelievable.
Nice.
I'm so excited for it.
I've gone the opposite direction. I've literally thrown out my Goodreads thing and stopped counting, because I'm back to like, I want to I can't make everything a challenge. And even though I'm not really sticking strictly with it, the fact that it's there is really annoying me.
Yeah. Change the goal to like 12 books and then you'll have already completed it.
1 month ago, yeah.
There you go. Exactly. You have to do what works for you, and challenges work for me because I like the competition. That is what drives me. So yeah. I'm like, what I'm trying not to do is raise the bar, because I'm like, in my head I have a new figure of books that I want to reach, and I'm like, no, Sacha, the challenge was 100 books. You get to 100 and then you complete. So I'm like, but like in my head, I'm like, we're going to read this many. And I'm like, no. Anyway, so that's now, my straining face. Okay.
Always needed that in my life.
I know, right? Weekly confessional. Dan will finalize the launch for the Omens Call. Complete 3 of 5 days of resources and 15,000 words of ghostwriting.
So I sorted out the stuff for the Omens Call. I completed 3 or 5 days of resources, which I wouldn't have if we had recorded yesterday. And also I did 4,000 words of ghostwriting. So technically I failed. But I was also... Hold up.
No, I'm joking.
Hold up, because I want a conversation about this, like as a serious thing, and I wanted to do this live on air. One thing that we haven't accounted for are weeks when things go out the window and it is shit. Like, I am fully accountable to myself for like every week that I try and do something, but there are weeks that throw us. And so I don't know how that affects things, because like I physically, like on a normal week, that would have been easy knock out the park for me. But like, and I will say, this isn't me getting out of a forfeit. If the audience wants to give me a forfeit, and if you want to give me a forfeit, I will do a forfeit. But what I'm saying is, like, for future and stuff, like there are periods where we're not at our best. And this week, like, I couldn't have done any more. Like, I've actually probably still done too much than what I should have done.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've had a situation like this before and had to do a forfeit, but that's fine. I am going to go away and mull this situation over because I completely agree with you. I do think that there are weeks when it's just impossible. And yeah, stuff comes up, like when there's pandemic lockdowns and things, and you just can't control it. So yeah, I'm gonna go away, and I might do a very kind forfeit to you.
Right. Yeah, I think I don't know what it looks like. We said before about like putting in those almost like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't want you to use your game. Wow.
No, like, I'm just saying, like, if there are occasions, like, I don't know. I think the thing is, I don't want us to feel like we're getting punished just because we've been unwell.
Yeah.
Over to you, Black.
Yeah, maybe you just have to wear your boob top again next time.
Lucky I haven't thrown that out yet.
I know, right? Okay, so Sacha will outline enough of Trey to start editing. Ka-ching. There's my outline, bitches.
Nice.
And I have started, although completely cheating. Well, it's not cheating because I did the work, but I only had to edit like a couple of lines in the first 2 chapters. So I'm like, yeah, I've edited like 7,500 words and really haven't. I just only had to like tweak a couple of things. So yes, I have started. Continue shutting down task. Cha-ching, ka-ching, cha-ching. Yeah, like I said just before we came on air, I haven't finished everything that I owe other people, but I am getting very close.
Nice.
Read as many Kindle Storyteller books as possible. So it's been announced now what the Kindle Storyteller books are. So if anybody's interested, we've got Rachel McLean, The Corfie Castle Murders. So I've read that one. Escape to Hummingbird Hotel by Daisy James. I've read that one. I am almost halfway through this one, which is Stranger at the Village by Mary Kingswood. And then the last 2 that I've got to read by Friday are An Isolated Incident by J.D. Kirk.
No way.
Yeah, Barry. I know.
It's Barry.
Cool, huh? It is Barry. And then 1,000 Lee, The Second Sect, by Tao Wong. We have met him because he was at 20 Books Edinburgh.
I think. Go on, keep talking. I'm going to Google him because I do think I might come to dinner with him.
Yeah, quite possibly. That's Barry, and this is Rachel McCollin.
No way! Yeah, I went to dinner with him. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah. And so then this is Rachel McCollin. So I actually know 3 of the 5 authors, which has been wonderful actually to get to read some of their work. And of course,
I sat next to 2 of them at the dinner table.
Yeah, so it's been really good actually. It's been really interesting to get to read indie authors' books and to I don't know, like it's been really interesting.
What genre is Taos?
Fantasy, based in Asia, I think. I haven't read that one yet, so I can't tell you for sure.
Because he was writing Gamelit.
Yeah, RPG.
So it's interesting to see him going that. Yeah.
So this is crime. This is like travel, holiday, cozy romance. This is historical fiction. This is crime, and then this one is like fantasy. I don't know. I've still got that one to read.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So
just got all the fuzzies.
Yeah, it's been. I'm so pleased that they've all got shortlisted. What it has reminded me though is it has taught me that what I need to be very careful how I say this. You know how we say that people read in a genre and they stick to that genre and they go to that genre for a reason? I've really understood what that means this week.
Yeah, I have this week.
Because none of those books are my genre, and I can't really give you any opinions on them. But all of them are excellent, you know, but they're not my genre. And that has been a very interesting process, because it's actually been a while since I read something that wasn't my genre. So when this is all done and said, I would like to come back and have a conversation about this. And maybe we do that in and around when we talk about the anthologies.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
because we had like a very small conversation yesterday about like the fact that I was reading someone's work, and like I was considering DNFing it, because what I've learned is like it's really well written and it's a really good book.
Yes.
But it's not my type of good book.
Yes, exactly.
And that's been a real sort of like, because I read a book a couple of weeks ago that like I was gripped, like it was everything that like I search for, and they were in the same broad overarching genre, but they were different subgenres. And like it's really sort of pointed out to me why I go to one and not the other.
Yeah, and I mean, I do read in more than one genre, but they are generally speaking subgenres of the same genre.
Mine are very adult, I've discovered. Like YA doesn't do it for me.
Well, see, I read a mix of young adult, anything young adult I will read, adult fantasy, and nonfiction. And then occasionally, if it's slightly pacier, I will read a literary fiction book, but it has to be on the pacier side, because I don't like slow books.
Same.
So
one extra thing to throw out, just to throw out more things, like because we haven't already done that, is an excellent read that I'm working through at the minute, The Relaxed Author by Miss Penn and Mr. Lefebvre.
Finished that yesterday. It's amazing.
Nice. I'm about halfway through it so far, but definitely recommend. There's some good lessons in there.
That's another thing that I enjoyed this week. I brought the audiobook direct from Joanna.
Nice.
It was seamless. Absolutely seamless. Oh my goodness me. I definitely want to, once I've got more than one audiobook, I am definitely going to set that up so people can buy direct from me, because that was fantastic.
Beautiful.
Okay. Oh my goodness me. Comments. Oh my God. Are we still not to the question of the week?
So what, Sacha? This happens every week. Maybe we should remove a couple of beginning things if you want to make it shorter. But also, I don't mind. So the question we asked was, what is the book or books you've given most as a gift, and why? And Melissa said, Good Omens. Have bought it at least 8 times. We buy it for ourselves, then lend our copy, and it never comes back. Every time it gets passed on and on and on. Now, I don't know whether that's a book that you've gifted because it's great or because you keep losing it. But also, it is a fantastic book. And if you've not seen the TV series, it is exquisite. Ida says, I don't generally give out books, but I've given out Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes to 2 or 3 people. As far as writing, I've recommended many times, but not gifted, Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes. And Shane says, Jack Canfield's The Success Principles. That's one that's been on my list for a while and I haven't yet got to.
You haven't read The Success Principles?
Not yet. I think it's on my shelf right now, actually.
I recommend the audiobook.
Okay.
I recommend the audiobook.
Check it out. But yeah, thank you everyone for commenting.
Yes. Okay. So that means that we are on to the question of the week, I think. Are we not?
Right, Raggy. Yes.
Okay. So
one super quick mention before you get into that. Level Up Challenge is over. Pens down, thumbs up, as they say in British primary schools. I don't know if that transcends to like other countries. But yeah, congratulations to everyone who did the thing that we're meant to do. For those who haven't, we await your videos of you attempting to juggle eggs.
Yes, I have set my Q4 goals. I think there's 13, but I'm only going to be accountable for 7 or 8 of them. So yeah, I did that.
Only 7 or 8. Yeah.
No,
interesting. I've been doing them.
Yeah, I want to do all of them, but like I don't want to be accountable to all of them because I'll have to burn myself into the ground. So like I want to know which ones are the priority, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Interestingly, I've been doing my planning this week as well, so I should have some juicy goals.
So that means we have to do another challenge.
Level Up Challenge. Yeah.
Okay. Question of the week. What is your relationship with learning?
Ooh. So this is an interesting one because I've actually been thinking about this lately. So if we dive into strengths, I am very high learner. I'm very high input. And what I've discovered over the last few years is that for me, there's a very stereotypical way of how I viewed learning. And I surprise myself by how much I learn by not doing things that I consider learning. So I've always considered learning like reading a book or doing a course, like these very traditional sort of like educational structures to input knowledge on a specific subject and to do that. And so let me sort of, this will be quite stunted, but I've got like a few different thoughts on this. So one thing that I did learn was in writing Collaboration for Authors and the Self-Publishing Blueprint, I went away and I did like additional research, obviously, around the subject that I was writing. And taking a leaf from your book, I got like sticky tabs and I was ready to like go through all these non-fictions and to sort of like label things and go through. So I had this book that was just like very, very rainbow colored with lots of things that I'd learned and taken away. That's not how I work. Like I'm a very absorptive, what's the word?
Absorbative? I don't know. Absorption?
Sure. I feel like there's going to be a different word, but I take in a lot of information and I just process it internally. Like I can regurgitate facts. I can remember song lyrics. I can remember like quotes from films and things after watching it just like once or twice. Like I have a very, I'm quite good with that sort of memory recall in terms of like how my brain processes stuff and just like logs it away in my head. So I don't often have to like write down the things that I've learned in order to learn them. What I will add on that is that like sometimes specificity is an issue. So if I know that I've read something in a book that was amazing that I was like, I need to come back to, and I haven't marked it, like that's then an issue because finding that specific thing then takes up time to find that thing. So personally, I'm still working on a way to catalog, and actually my Kindle Oasis now is like part of my new method to do that because I just highlight things as I go through that I'm like, this could be useful. And then at least I've got reference points.
That you don't mind highlighting it. You don't mind highlighting it on the Kindle, but you do mind highlighting it in a book. That's so interesting. I'll tell you why.
Because it catalogs it and puts it in an easy to access list as opposed to me like flicking through pages or having to like write down elsewhere.
It's so interesting to me.
I know.
You are so interesting.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, and so I learn a lot of stuff through like reading nonfiction, watching YouTube videos and things. But then I found that I, over the last few years especially, have gotten very into like watching lots of documentaries and watching like behind the scenes stuff of how things are made. Like things that fascinated me over the last couple of years are like the documentary about biohacking, the documentary about like the video game industry and where that came from, because I'm getting really interested in like history and the placement of like human activity over the timeline of existence. Like Stephen Hawking's, this is a book, but one that like just I very much enjoyed, Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time. Like I found that I like to learn and it's not restricted to any specific thing. And so if I get interested in, that's say, input. yeah.
Input is your widener and learner is your narrower.
Okay. But like I found that because I'm a big Pokemon fan, I'll then go deep into like how the animation has progressed throughout the years from just like sketch drawing to like digital artistry to like how they voice animate across different countries and the reason that like manga, the mouth moves in like a certain way. I find that, and this is really, this is kind of like linking quite strongly into where I am at the minute with like fiction and stuff. But like, if I'm not learning, I never feel like I'm growing. And I think what's the point? Like, why would I run my same treadmill again and again and again and again? Like, I love learning. So even with my own fiction at the minute, I'm looking at what direction I'm going to be taking that over the next few years, because I feel like I can adequately write a horror story. I feel like I can adequately like ghostwrite for the clients that I ghostwrite for. But I really, like, one of the things that took me into this space and into writing in general to start with was that real hunger to learn and like the formation of a paragraph and sentence structure and like how can you convey an emotion through just like simple words placed together. And I feel like at the minute, when winter comes being an exception, because I absolutely loved writing that, I feel at the minute that I'm getting a bit stagnant in my own fiction and I really want to like learn something new and like take a bit of a curve. Like I still want to remain within the realm of dark fiction because that's the stuff that I do just enjoy. But I've got lots of ideas for ways that I can go and move forward, because like I say, if I'm not learning, then I'm not growing. And like I've tried over the years a lot of times to sit and go through courses, and I tried to do sort of like conventional things online. And I do find that a lot of how I learn is just it transcends like media. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. Like I love meeting people and asking people questions. Like, for example, my mum recently held a charity bake afternoon tea thing, and she invited loads of people from sort of the local village. And one woman I was speaking to owns like 24 hectares of land, and I just got chatting to her, and she was saying about how like she's like an award-winning pig raiser in the UK, which I found absolutely fascinating. And then started like asking her about like the lifespan of her pigs, which if you're of a sensitive disposition, pause it for a second or like mute it. But like I didn't realize how short the lifespan of raised pigs were before they went to the butchery. Like they come in at like 6 weeks old and they leave at 16 weeks. And I was like, that's something I didn't know, but it is very, very interesting. And then I spoke to another person who works for Raspberry Pi. And I was like, and I think this is also, you've hit a button with me, Sacha. I think this is also like a reason why I enjoyed interviewing so much, is that you can really like cure your curiosity and dive into other people and how they work and their processes and see things that
But
you
that's your
haven't seen in ages.
individualization. That's your individualization.
Oh yeah,
Combined with learner.
Yeah, and just peopling in general. I do love peopling, or like understanding people. And it actually, we were saying, I was in a conversation with an author friend of mine yesterday, and we were having a conversation about something which I'll fill you in after this episode, but like something that's not meant to be a real tease, but I realize it's going to be, but also it's not my information to give. But something that's kind of like moved into the indie space, that the reason it's moved into the indie space because it's not swimming in the waters of other indies. Like it's something that has been like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an absolute brick. It's suffice to say, like there's movement on like new things that are coming into the conventional indie space, because we swim in like waters with a lot of other people. Like there is a bubble that we get trapped in as indies. And some of the biggest changes, the biggest disruptors come from outside, from people who are interested in doing what indies do, but see it from like mechanics or from like the IT industry, or just like these people that can like bring something new from a different experience. So I was speaking to someone about that yesterday, about how the reason this is exciting and fresh and new is because they're not privy to a lot of like what we do. So it brings like a new perspective. And yeah, I enjoy that, and I really enjoy listening to people's opinions and perspectives, and not trying to judge them, but trying to understand where it comes from. Which again, I think comes back to sort of like the coaching and the activated authors and everything else. So in conclusion, a hungry learner. I don't mean this to offend anyone, but I don't understand people that don't want to learn at least something new as they go through life, because I think life is about growth and understanding, and that's my opinion. But yeah, I'm a hungry learner, and it tends to be from multiple sources that just transcend all sort of categories, and then I try and find ways to like link them and work out how they all interplay together. So yeah, this is probably why my mind is always so like full of shit, because I'm not emphasizing this. I'm not like saying this to declare any sort of like grandiose statement about myself. I cannot switch my brain off. I cannot shut it down. Like I am forever thinking. I am the guy that sits in the back of the car or like on a bus on the way to somewhere, and I will look at like a city and be like, there's not a single millimeter of this place that hasn't been in some way touched by human. Like that plastic over there that made part of this lamppost was probably shipped by China. Like where the hell did that come from? How did that generally as a thing start when we started like shipping in products to then a company shaping that into this? Is literally like my brain does this all the time. So there you go. I'll stop now.
That was quite the tangent at the end there.
It's where I go.
I love it. I do love it. Also, I love your enthusiasm for the answer to this week's question. Like I kind of had a feeling that you were going to really enjoy this question, but yeah, I love the answer even more.
How about you?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to answer it. So I have always been a learner, always. Like, I think that was the first strength that everybody else could see. Maybe I probably not. I was probably always competitive, but
Yeah.
it's the strength that going into the strengths test I knew I would have, because I, even as a child, had an insatiable appetite for information and knowledge, and I was and it is karma as a bitch, because my son is exactly the same, and he claims to hate learning, and I'm like, but do you?
You don't understand learning as a child.
Yeah,
like,
he
learning
doesn't.
something you have to do at school.
He does not understand, because he can't leave something. This week he was like, what comes after infrared light? And I was like, well, why don't you Google that? Because, and he's like, well, there's UV that we can't see, and we can't see infrared. So what other light spectrums can't we see? And I'm like, we should find that out, Atlas. We should find that out. But I was exactly the same as a kid. Like, I remember learning. I remember my aunt, who used to run a dragonfly sanctuary, teaching me the difference between a male and a female dragonfly. And we would trick people. We would play pranks and make out like I was a child genius. And really what had happened was she had taught me the symbols. It's like the male and female symbols. So we'd because my other aunt used to have these enormous parties and gatherings for all these people that worked, like entomologists and like bat specialists and bug specialists and all these people. And so yeah, she would be like, oh well, my niece is a child genius, and they'd be like, really? And so she'd open this book and be like, oh, Sacha, which one is a bug, which one's male and which one's female? I'd be like, oh well, that one's male, that one's female. And they'd be like, no. Yeah. And so we were absolutely pissing our pants laughing, because none of them ever realized what we were doing. But it was, anyway, but that I have memories of that kind of stuff, of like learning random things as a kid. And then I almost lost my love of education. I didn't do A levels. I did the International Baccalaureate. Now the International Baccalaureate is something they do much more in European schools, and our school was what's it called? We were testing it, we were trialing it, and there were a couple of subjects that they couldn't get in the timetable that I wanted to take for A levels. So I was like, well, can I do the IB instead? So I took the baccalaureate, but unfortunately, because it was like a trial year, they really fucked it up. And there was like whole modules left out of my biology exam. Yeah. They taught the A-level syllabus for International Baccalaureate Art. So I essentially nearly failed my IB. I passed by 1 mark, right? And I am the sort of person that got A's and A stars and B's for my GCSEs.
Okay.
Yeah. And I got a first-class degree. So like, I don't fail educational things. And I was so cross and so resentful for so long that I didn't get into any of my universities. I didn't even get into my reserve university. So I had to fight my way into university. And if it hadn't have been for the extracurricular stuff that I did, which, as I'm sure is not a surprise, was many and varied, I probably wouldn't have got a place at university. And in the end, I did psychology at uni, and literally I remember the woman because we had to fight, because I'm like all over the place because this is such a raw memory. Why does this keep happening? Anyway, so I finished my studies in April of the year, where everybody else finished in June. And so I had to fight my way into getting a place, and clearing hadn't even started. So I was trying to get a place during the academic period where everybody was still, like, all the places were gone. It was so hard. And the woman phoned me and was like, could you please stop faxing me your achievements? Like, literally, can you please stop faxing me your achievements? Because I just sent everything that I had done, because I was like, I promise you I'm a good student. Like, this shouldn't have happened. They also sent off the wrong so you know how your teachers have to send off a thing to the universities that you've applied to? They sent the wrong fucking scores off. So how literally, like, I was so shafted in those upper sixth form years. Anyway, I got a place, and surprise, surprise, 3 years later, I got a first class degree in psychology. Then I did a master's in cognitive neuropsychology. Then I went off and did another master's as part of my corporate fast track management thing, which was a master's in public management. So I had 2 masters. I nearly did a PhD, which was going to be in distributed cognition. I got a scholarship to do that at Macquarie in Sydney in Australia, but I was just so done. So I stopped, and there was a period after having to do the masters in public management, which I did not want to do, I can assure you, and I finished it 7 months pregnant as well. I didn't even go to my graduation because I was just like, thank fuck that is over. It almost permanently damaged my love of learning. And so for a little while, I would say there was probably 2 years I didn't read a book. I didn't read a journal. I didn't investigate anything. I didn't research anything. I didn't do anything. And I can honestly say I was probably in a massive learner basement. And I don't remember now what it was that caused me to pick up a book, but all of a sudden I picked up a book, and then I remembered. Mm-hmm. And since that day, since that first book that I picked up, it has just been this massive resurgence of learning gives me life. And I don't think I will ever stop learning, like not ever. And I do courses, I read books. One thing that was interesting to me this week, I had a discussion with Scott about learning, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. He often looks to experts, so he will take many more courses than I would, whereas I am very self-driven. So I like to teach myself the things. I like to unearth the lessons myself. So that is why I do a lot of deconstruction, and I like that self-driven deconstruction, forensic analysis to work out what somebody's doing. I don't necessarily want people to tell me. I want to figure it out. I want to learn it. I want to unearth it. So a bit like you, I wouldn't say I have one source of learning. Like, I listen to podcasts, I read nonfiction books, I watch documentaries, albeit to a lesser extent on the documentaries, because I try not to watch too much TV, but I do, and I swing between wanting to know everything about so many different things and also going very narrow and deep. Like Chloe says to me that me, my dad and my son are all the exact same. We have our obsessions or our specialisms, our special topic that we go very, very deep on. And Atlas is the same and I'm the same. And so obviously that's writing for me, or the publishing industry, however you want to put it. So yeah, I don't know, like, learning things gives me life. And yeah, I'm so grateful that I found my way back to learning, because I think, like you said, if you're not growing, you're dying. Yeah. And, I don't want to die. So I want to keep learning and growing and changing and consuming information. I don't know. So I love learning. I love self-driven learning, which is why I got on much better at university than I did at school. Like I don't have great memories of school. But it's because I think that it's not individualized enough, school. I think they just they can't, because there's 30 kids. How can you individualize that? You can't.
No. I mean, two bonus things that I kind of want to add just after like some of the stuff you said. Like, number one, I don't know, I imagine you're probably the same, but one thing that I've definitely found, I can't remember who I had a conversation with about this. Like, I used to listen to so many indie publishing podcasts when I started out. Like, there was self-publishing podcasts, there was like the rockin' podcast, I can't remember, it doesn't run anymore, but like, I indulge myself in like the Creative Pen and all of these and like everything, and I really don't listen to half as many of those as I used to, because there's a saturation point of like some of the stuff that people talk about. Even the Six Figure Author podcast is fantastic and a great resource for people. Like I highly recommend listening to it. But you get to a point where like there's only so many times you can hear the same lessons, because there is a universal truth amongst how it works as indie. And so sometimes you're forced to then expand and go elsewhere, which is why like you've had business people on your podcast, and why like I listen to like entrepreneurial podcasts that look at like other spaces and things. And so it can definitely change over time, that lens through which you view it as you grow as a person. And then the other thing, kind of drawing off that kind of individualization and curiosity of the education system, I definitely found that my degree, my dissertation was one of the most fascinating things I did, because my dissertation was on existentialism in the works of Samuel Beckett.
Wow.
And I was just fascinated by him and like existentialism in general. And I could go on about that for hours. But like,
do you think you'll ever do a PhD?
No.
Really? Okay.
I
still might.
I no longer hold any value personally on like qualifications or pieces of paper, because I've seen people do amazing things without them.
It's not the qualification. It's the opportunity to go really deep into one subject that appeals to me.
I can do that without that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where my head's at anyway. But as a parent as well, I didn't realize this as strongly as I do now that I have like a 6-year-old who's like fascinated by stuff. And this won't be a surprise to many people, he is obsessed with Minecraft. Like he loves Minecraft, and I feed his obsession, but I widen his obsession in as many possible ways that I can. So like he loves building things in creative mode. He likes running a survival, and you learn about like so the point that I'm going to be trying to highlight here is like how many extra skills you can learn off of something that seems really like just stupid. Like he learns finance skills by understanding like how much he needs to earn to buy things. He understands the fact that you can only run so far in the wildlands without like your hunger meter going down, and you have to buy food before you die. He's taken a real interest lately in like the PC version of Minecraft and sort of mods and things. So I'm showing him how you can like edit software and like modify things and digital spaces.
We need to talk about this afterwards, because Raspberry Pi is one of the things I'm looking at, and also Coder Kid. Coder Kid. It is a subscription. We'll talk about this offline, because we are doing the same on this end, like to teach Atlas programming.
Yeah, but I've bought him books that have like crosswords and Sudokus and things, and Minecraft themed. Like he has kits where he builds stuff. Like he loves Minecraft, so why not teach him other things through the lens of Minecraft that later on will be useful? And like it really kills me, because I've had conversations with people where they're like, aren't you worried about like video game addiction and stuff? Like video games are really bad for kids. And I'm like, that was the truth, in quotes for people on the podcast. That was the truth back in like the 90s when video games weren't maturing. And like there was a lot of dodgy stuff with video games, because there wasn't even like age licensing and stuff. But like I said to this person, and I haven't done the research, but I said to this person, like, how do we know that's truth? Because do you have the facts? Like, surely there's new research to like say whether it's good or bad one way or the other, and like ways to, skew that. But yeah, the point being,
what I have been astonished over is watching Atlas's development in Minecraft. When he first got it, the game, because he wanted it for so long, he put it down and didn't play with it for about 3 months because he couldn't do it. Now he can build entire castles, and they are so creative that I'm like, you built that. Like, and it's not that I don't believe that he's skilled, but it's so good that I'm like,
learn
what the fuck? Like, how did you do
learn
that?
how much of a sponge kids are. Like, it was the same. We got it on Switch, and I played the first round with him, and I was like trying to understand how it works and everything, because even I was struggling, and there's no tutorial in Minecraft. You have to like figure it out. And then he played like an hour, and then the following weekend he'd gone home and he'd watched some YouTube videos, and he came back and he built a working minecart system where he was pushing like a cow up and down hills and through tunnels and stuff. And I was like, how have you done this?
Right, I am going to draw this to a close, because we have done over an hour.
You asked the question.
I did ask the question. I apologize.
You knew what you were doing.
Okay, what are you going to do to level up your business this week?
I have a presentation to create and a presentation to give to the Be a Bestseller 2.0 conference. So I'll put a link for that in the show notes, because anyone who wants to come and enjoy a virtual conference for free, I have a link that you can register for and attend. And it's this Thursday and Friday,
Thursday and Friday, 7th and the 8th. And I'll be giving a presentation. There's some other fantastic speakers there, all about like, basically the whole point is sort of building resilience so that you can write that first novel and work your way to become a bestseller. So that's a presentation that I've got to do, and then also finish off the resources for the nano preppers.
Love it. I am going to work on Trey. I am going to continue shutting down tasks. By the time we record this, I won't have finished Storyteller, but I will finish it that day if we record on Friday. So I'm going to include that in this weekly accountability, but I'm including it for the end of Friday, not when we record, if that makes sense. Just because I can't, because the meeting's at 3:00. So
Do you have any specificity on Trey?
not this week, but because I don't know what my pace is going to be. One of the things that I have learned, and I know you have told me this, is that I'll explain why in like 3 sentences. Writing muscle, you talk about it all the time, and I'm like, yeah. But I smashed out a 5,000 word lessons learned post on what I've learned about the audiobooks in about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, 5,000 words. And I was like, fuck. And it just goes to remind me that I have a non-fiction writing muscle. I don't have a fiction writing muscle, but that's okay, because now I know I'm a build it. Exactly. So no, I don't have a numbers related target, but that's because I need to gather data on what my speed and pace and things are. And also because I'm mostly editing the front end and it doesn't need a lot. And it's when I get to the middle chunk, which will probably be in another week to 10 days, that's when I'll really gather the data to know how long things take me.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's it. So audience question of the week is, what is your relationship with learning? And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, cracked.
Wow, teenage Dan. Voice break.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writers Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
next level
authors.
Okay.
Hello, achievers. I'm going to just start that again because you said okay in the middle of me. So
What's your issue? Like, I can't talk on our show.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No. Our show is about me. No, I'm joking.
Oh, gotcha.
Our show is about our banterous friendship.
Yes.